Hello and good evening and welcome to Simply Spooky. Tonight I'm on my own. I've got no Dan. He's not very well this evening. So you've just got me, and Jamie might join in a little bit later on. But on tonight's show, I'm really excited. I have what I call the Queen of Crystals, Kerry Greenaway, and of course the lovely paranormal consultant up there, which really means T-boy, Paul Rook. Welcome, both of you.
One of my boys.
Yeah.
Hello, Wayne. I'm really excited to have you both on, and especially Kerry, because it's been a long time coming. I know that we've had you on the show before and everything, but we love just what you do and the crystal thing and the description. I wanted to put everything down there, and I just had to sort of like a brain block because I had Crystal Lady, paranormal investigator, podcaster. I don't think I put author. I should have put author in there. Paranormal investigator, and it's just like you do so much, really. I don't think people realise how much you actually do. You're not just a crystal lady, you do much more than that. With the paranormal concept show with Paul
and
Richard, bless him. Hello, Richard, by the way, if you're watching this.
Yeah, hello, Rich.
We should have got him on as well.
It's about crystals, so you know.
Yeah.
But you've been selling crystals for quite a while now, and what you don't know about crystals is not worth knowing. In my that's how I feel, and I know that I get if I'm going to buy crystals, I would come to you. I wouldn't go anywhere else now.
Thank you.
I have got actually. I've been flashing them about lately, but they're at the back. They're at the back there. There are crystals all over here that I've got from Kerry, and they are really good quality. But we'll go into Kerry first. Sorry, Paul.
No, it's all right. I'm quite happy being surrounded by one or two crystals myself.
It's in my crystal room.
I know, we can see him in the background. I'm going to get you to get up off the chair at some point and show us.
Well, don't have to. Look, there's some here. Look, there's a snail. You can have a snail.
Just you be gentle with them, Paul.
Yes, don't you drop them. But yeah, tell us how it all began, the crystal thing with you. I've just killed him, William. Don't worry about it. No, he's not very well this evening. He's feeling poorly. Too much work DIY. I think it's got to him.
It started when I've always had that interest, like, you know, you pick up crystals when you're a kid, and you know, if you're in the gift shop at an attraction or something, it was always the crystally bit I would go to, and I've always had that interest. The Natural History Museum, obviously, and so it's always been part of my life. I've always had crystals around me. And then the really strange thing regarding the selling side of it was I was going through a change in my life, and I had 3 jobs. I was a single mum, had 3 jobs, kids were really little, so anything I needed to do had to be done sort of like from home, because obviously the babysitter side of it.
Yeah.
And so I was sort of at a stage in my life where I was really bored with my life because I wasn't able to have much of a social life because of the kids at that age. Yeah. Hi, Liz. And I'd taken the boys to the Natural History Museum, and I come home. Now, my eldest son at the time, well, this is going back, so he was probably about 7 or 8, and he didn't sleep. He weren't a sleeper. And this particular night, he wasn't sleeping, so he came downstairs, and I was flicking through the TV, and there was nothing on suitable for children watching because it's really late at night. So I thought, okay, I'll get the laptop out, as you do. And because we'd been at the Natural History Museum, I was Googling crystals and going, oh, did we see this one? And trying to, like, you know, do that. And so the first site that came up was a wholesaler. And it was Ryder that turned around to me and went, have a look. Have a look, Mum. This little 7 or 8-year-old. So I was like, okay. I logged in, as you do. And the minimum order wasn't too horrendous. And, you know, we were looking and they had quite a nice range. So I was like, okay, this is interesting. But it was interesting, but I didn't have any money.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, the following day they go off to their dad's for their weekend, and I was out round a friend's house, and she had been to a metaphysical shop, and she'd bought us some angel cards, which I'd done tarot for a lot of years before then, but I'd never done angel cards. And she'd bought a pendulum, which I'd never played with a pendulum before, and she bought a few tumble stones. She bought, odds and sods from this metaphysical shop. So we was playing around with these things, and as you do, so we did a reading. She goes, "Oh, we're just mucking around with these brand new deck of cards," and I hadn't told her about the wholesale. I hadn't told her about any of that, really. We hadn't got to that point. We were like, "Oh, crystals and cards," kind of moment. And we did a 3-card read, and the first card that came out was crystals. The second card that came out was way forward, and the third card that came out was go for it. And I just sat back in my chair. It's one of those moments where you sit back in your chair and you're like, what? I just don't believe what just unfolded in front of me. I was like, oh my God. Then I tell her about the wholesalers and whatnot. And I go, I can't believe that's come out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? And told her about the wholesalers. We were laughing about it and joking, but I was seeing it as a sign.
Sorry, I've just got to plug in. I'm having some technical issues here. Oh, God, it's my turn now.
Anyway, on the Monday, that would have been the Friday, so then the weekend happened. And then on the Monday, the post came, and there was a letter in the post. And at the time, there had been a big to-do, should I say, from the electricity companies, where they'd been overcharging people, and it had gone to court, and somebody and they were giving money back to everybody, basically, because of what they'd done. And there was a check in the post, and the check was for the exact minimum order amount at the wholesalers. And I had a decision to make at that point. What do I do with this check? Because the kids needed stuff, obviously. I was poor. Still am. Yeah. Not a lot changes in life, right? And so I then went and placed my first order, and my parents were like, "You've wasted this amount of money on crystals. What the hell?" I was like, "Yeah, but I'm going to set up a business." And I'm like, "I'm going to set up a business. I'm going to sell all these crystals, and it's going to be marvelous. And I'm going to, how fantastic, and all this." And Spirit and Soul Island was born.
I put it down there. So
thank you.
If anyone wants to look at your crystals, it's on Facebook, Spirit and Soul Island. You have an album that in the shop that people can look at to see what's available, and they can message you, can't they?
There's a shop function which has got obviously the majority of the crystals in. There's a lot that I don't get time to put in there, but there's a lot in there. But then I also do a newbies album every month, so you can go into the photos, the albums, and check out the photos through the albums as well of the new stuff that comes in. I get stuff in pretty much every week, and and I just do a Facebook Live, and I just do selling that way. And if anybody's after anything specifically, they just pop. Usually, I mean, I'm quite a customer service kind of girl. I like to be involved with my crystals and their journey forward and the people that they're going to. I get quite personal about it. And so I like to develop relationships with my customers. It's not just about buy my crystals, thanks very much, see you later. I like to have that rapport with the people I sell to. Because I think that's really important as well, because like half the time if I'm out on a buying spree and I know someone's after something, I don't just go, well, they wanted one of them, so I just buy it. I could be looking at 3 or 4 different wholesalers, looking at different examples of the crystal to pick what I feel intuitively is the right crystal for that person. And generally I would say 99% of the time I've been accurate and got the piece that somebody's wanted in the price range they've wanted, because I like to source crystals at a great price. I don't like some shops I feel are incredibly overpriced. Bearing in mind I know the prices of things. So, I like to bring good value crystals at good prices with great service. That's my tagline.
Well, I can actually vouch for that, because I've always wanted a piece of black amethyst, which I know is quite hard to get hold of. and I came to you, and lo and behold, you got not just one piece of black amethyst, but 3 to sell. So I had the choice, and I was so over the moon when that arrived. I do you know what? It's my favourite crystal out of all the crystals I have. It's my favourite. Yeah, it's one to behold. To be fair, I don't know what I'm doing with it, mind, but but I love it. I do love it. I do love it. Hi, Jacqueline. Jacqueline's just popped in to say hello to everybody. So, Paul, you're in Kerry's crystal room.
I am. I'm in the crystal cave for the moment.
Can we be naughty, Kerry?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I'm in the cave. Don't matter what Kerry says. Don't go for it.
Go and find 3 crystals, one big, one medium size, and one small, just to show off. Just whatever you're drawn to.
Oh, and okay. Well, I like.
And make sure it's got a sticker with a price on it. So if anyone wants to buy
I like
it in
this
the
one.
chat.
Little skull.
Okay. Do you know what crystal that is, Paul? Let's contest you.
Yeah, I do. That's a Dalmatian jasper. Because I had one.
And what is the price? Has Kerry got the price on it?
This one's £20.
That's cheap.
Yeah.
That is cheap.
Nice little crystal skull there. Brilliant.
Okay, go and find another one.
That's one of my favourites. Okay. I've got a thing for skulls. I really have. I don't know what this one is. But
he's going to show all skulls, isn't he?
Yeah, probably. Dragon one. No, actually, yeah, there is another one I like.
Have you seen? Are you going to show the big one?
I'm going to show the ones down there. Yeah.
So come on, pull up to the camera. That one's
this one. I don't know. It's some sort of quartz, isn't it?
Fire quartz, by the looks of it. Yeah.
There you go. Fire quartz. Nice little dragon skull.
Hello.
Hello. We're just looking at Kerry's crystals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, £25. That one.
That's not bad.
That's quite really good.
That's quite a chunky piece as well.
Really good chunky bit. You could do some right damage with that if someone annoyed you.
Okay, and now go and get the big piece.
Okay, I'll go and get the big piece. The big piece just happens to be this side.
He's got them all lined up ready.
And another skull as well. Nice big.
What crystal's that, Paul?
Red one.
Red one.
I'm going to come off in a minute.
It doesn't look red. It looks white.
I think that's because of my light, but it's a pinky colour.
It's lavender rose quartz.
Thank you, Kelly.
Okay, it looks pink. And this one's £60.
That's still a good price.
Absolutely.
That's still a good price.
That's an amazing price.
I totally agree with Luce there on get rid of The Apprentice. The Apprentice
See, he's done his hair and his makeup and everything.
I like this one. Might have to come home with me.
It's a really deep pink, actually. If the colour is really, really bled out in that camera, but that is it's called lavender rose quartz, which is quite a new crystal. It's like a lavender rose quartz is usually like a ham kind of colour pink, and that particular skull is actually more like a red pink, more like a blush pink. Than anything else. It's quite new, like the variations of rose quartz coming onto the market. So you've got a lot of blue rose quartz, they call it black rose quartz. So it's got the rose quartz chemical composition, but the impurity has either been treated to it like naturally, this would be irradiated naturally, heated, to give it that different coloration. And these new crystals that are coming onto the market, and actually in the last 2 years we've seen quite a lot of new crystals coming through onto the market, which is absolutely phenomenal because you get to work with new crystals and get to feel their energy, which is great. And it's nice to take a break sometimes from the normal and try something new and get a vibe for things. Like we've had eupolite, we've had sphalerite, we've had all these new kind of crystals coming onto the market, and it's just brilliant. I love new crystals.
Do you ever go in your crystal room, Kerry, and just lie down on the floor and just soak all that energy up? Do you ever do that?
my crystals, when they're with me in the crystal room, yes, they're for sale. Yes, they're sale pieces. Yes, they're stock, but they're my babies while they're with me. And a side of it I don't do in front of people is my spiritual work. I don't ever really put the work I do spiritually out there, and I will do all of that work in the crystal room. So any of the ritual work or meditation work that I do, which I don't talk about, I don't really reference, I just get on and do it. It's personal work that I do. And if I'm doing work for somebody else, then I keep that incredibly private. All of that work gets done out there. And, you know, they love it.
Chantal.
The crystals love it. They're vibrant. They're great. If I had a week away and I came back and they were like, yes, she's back kind of vibe. You know what I mean? It's like, where have you been? You know what I mean? We've been missing you. And when I'm showing them, they wake up in your hand. You know what I mean? Like the Bradorite, I could pick it up for, you know, and you've watched my lives, haven't you, Viv? So you know how this works. So like I'll pick a crystal up and I'll be like, it's got to wake up yet. And then as I'm talking and working with it and I'm energetically infusing it whilst I'm talking on my live, selling live, you can feel it and see it waking up, you know what I mean, in my hand. And I think that's part of the process of it, you know what I mean? They're connecting to you and they know that they've got to work and show themselves to be bought for the right guardian, their long-term guardian. So, you know, I don't see them as pieces of stock.
And more good looking.
Are you talking about Paul or are you talking about Parker, Chantal?
So, Kerry, so what does that rose quartz do? So if people haven't experienced crystals, what does that actually do? So just for instance, I want to get some crystals off you. How would you explain, you know, like obviously the paranormal, what crystals that are good for myself? You know, what 3 or 4 or 5 crystals would you recommend to me to say, look, this is what you can have, or this is what it does? Do you know what I mean? Like a menu. So you're going pretty much to a food court and go, well, I'll have that. You know,
there's a nice big expensive one.
You've got 3 different concepts going on in one question.
No.
First of all, what's rose quartz do? Well, rose quartz, they call it the relationship stone. So with the heart chakra here, we talk in terms of colors in pink and green. Right, so pink will relate to inner work that you need to do to heal any traumas. And that's not just like heartbreak trauma. That's any form of trauma, like childhood trauma and stuff like that. So they call it the relationship stone. Now, with the pinks, it's more about the relationship with yourself and how you deal with things, your emotional status. So when you're working with rose quartz, you would bring that in. Now, rose quartz is one of those crystals that everybody likes because of the pink color, right? So you get a lot of kids picking it up and working, you know, wanting that because of the pink. But it's quite a subtle, it will lay dormant, as it were, for quite a while. And you'll have it on your shelf. And it's one of those that you've bought because it's super pretty and very feminine feeling. But then all of a sudden, it calls you, and then the work it does is incredibly powerful, but it's very subtle in its general, you know, sitting on the sheet. It's quite happy to sit there for a long time until it's really needed. And that's, everyone thinks, oh, rose quartz is fantastic. It is fantastic when it's working, but it will lay dormant until that time is needed. Absolutely brilliant. In regards to paranormal investigations, you want 5 crystals that are off the top of your head, right? First of all, I would say, what are you going to do with the crystals while you're out there? What you see you're going to be using them for. Secondly, where are you going? Because that's relevant. If you're going to do a crystal grid, or for example, you need to like link in to the environment that you're going into, so that it's different. It's not as easy to say these 5 crystals you'll be able to take to every single investigation and that will work. Do you see what I mean?
I see what you're saying.
Now, for you personally, you would have to go to, right, we'll sit down and we'll go, right, okay, let's look at what issues do you want to work on, first of all? What do you feel drawn to? And let's examine that. And then work around that framework to get you either a crystal, a couple of crystals that you can work with. I mean, some people want them just for placement in the house, like showpieces in the house, but it would depend on where you're putting them in the house as to where you put, you know, what you would buy. Because certain crystals you shouldn't put like at the front door. You wouldn't put like a quartz crystal or a selenite crystal, because you want you don't want energy flowing out your door. Do you know what I mean? So there are certain things that you have to look at in regards to their uses and how they work in regards to resonating with you. So it's not a simple. Sometimes people ask questions, but they're not simple answers.
Yeah,
does that make sense?
That's why I said about it, because I don't know nothing about you know what? It's just fascinating how they individually work and how they produce all the energy, and you know, I find it really fascinating, to be fair.
Think of crystals like people.
Yeah.
That's exactly how you've got to do it. You're not going to resonate with every single person you meet. You're not going to resonate with every single crystal you come across.
No.
Some crystals you're not going to like at all. You're going to be like repulsed by them.
Right.
Others will be your best friend. Do you know what I mean? And you'll want to carry it all the time. And others are like, come in and go. Do you know what I mean? So like, when you think about crystals and their energy work, think about how like certain friends will do certain things for you. So like your bestie is great in any circumstance, right?
Where's Mother Goose?
Sorry, I'm just grabbing some crystals.
So like, you know, you'll have a crystal that is like your best friend that is good for just pretty much any use. Do you know what I mean? Because that will tend to end up being a quartz.
Right, okay. That's crystal, the white one, isn't it?
Pink, white included.
Right, yeah.
Purple, the amethyst is purple. Do you know what I mean? The quartz family will tend to end up being one of your best friends that you keep forever and ever and after. You know, amen. You know, when you want your quiet Zen time and your downtime and you know, your general, you know, relax and chill, you'll go for more your blues or your selenites and stuff like that, because they're like easy and flowy and chill you and help you process things. When you go, like, you know, if you want to use them in the bath, for example, there are certain crystals you wouldn't put near water because it would deteriorate the internal structure of the crystal. Bearing in mind it's a geological thing rather than a person. You know, it's going to affect the integrity inside the crystal. So it all depends on usage, where you're placing them, what you're doing with them. All of those factors come into play.
Yeah.
Or you'll walk into a shop and you go, I like that one, and then you worry about what it does later, which is what a lot of people do. And every single time you'll find that the crystal that you're drawn to is the one that you end up loving and working with the most, because it's supposed to come to you. That's why you've been drawn to it so strongly.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you this one that I got from Kerry. I've got a big thing about green crystals. Why? I have no idea. I've got so much in the way of green crystals that I've collected over the years. But I saw this, not expensive, fell in love with it straight away, and I had to have one.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I've got that. Yeah, they're
like a moon. That's pucker, that. That's really nice.
That's ruby and zoisite.
Absolutely wonderful. And I'm going to show you another one. And again, I didn't even want it, but when she showed this, I had to have it. It's very addictive, Kerry shows are. I better warn you guys. So this one.
That's nice.
And I'll show you the back of it.
Is it a heart?
That's really pretty.
How pretty is that? And that is one of Kerry's. And I just loved it. I just saw that and I thought, no, it's got to come here. It's got to come to me. Now, in saying that, I've also got one of Paul's pieces, but I nicked the cord for it. Okay, so this is a bit of a collaboration, because I know Kerry supplied the crystal, and Paul makes the jewellery. Now, if you want to look at more of Paul's jewellery, he makes it, you can see it on the Rook's, is it called the Rook's Nest?
The Rook's Nest.
Shop. The Rook's Nest shop.
The Rook's Nest is on Facebook.
Yeah. So another green crystal to add to the collection. Paul knew me well. That was a birthday present.
That was your birthday present from me and Lucy.
Yeah. And they are really, really good quality. So I've asked people in the chat if they want to see any more crystals from the crystal room, that we'll send Paul off to
You're
go.
going to test me, because I don't know what all of them are.
That's the thing, Paul.
Well, Chantel Chantel says she likes tanzanite. That's her favourite. And Lucy likes crazy lace agate.
I know it's a stone. This is why I've been asked to come on, because it fascinates what crystals do.
I'll tell you something though, in regards to like you're out on a paranormal investigation and everyone goes, I've got my black tourmaline, and I think, great, don't want anything to,
guard yourself,
or you don't want anything to bother you then, because all you're doing is you're hardening your auric field so hard that nothing's going to get through that baby, right? So if you were trying to work empathically, or
you could have an alien skull.
Alien skull. Mm-hmm.
I got an alien from Kerry somewhere. I put it in my way safe because he's my prized possession, my alien skull.
Mm. So if you wanted to work empathically, shut up, Paul. Then if you wanted to work empathically, then black tourmaline is not going to allow that to do that. Do you know what I mean? It's going to shut you down too much. Yes, it's going to ground you. Yes, it's going to be a wonderful bubble of, protection around you, but it can be too hard.
What's a good attractor then to get them to come to you if you just wanted a bit more oomph, just a general one to give you a bit of oomph to come on guys, I'm here.
Amethyst.
Is that purple by any chance?
Yeah, that's the purple one. Yeah, amethyst. These cameras don't do the crystals justice at all, do they? No. But that's an amethyst.
That's a big piece.
An amethyst or a quartz. And quartz is the clear one. This is a big baby.
Wow.
That's a nice one.
Mm. So how much is that that crystal to buy if we went onto your website and purchased
this big one?
It's a lot.
It's £140.
That's cheap. That is cheap.
That is an amazing price, believe it or not, for that piece.
And if you look at the top of it, it looks like it's clear, like it's got water. It's water in the top.
It's water clear. It is water clear at the top, and then it goes into more of a cloudy effect as you go down. It's full of rainbows as well, which is amazing because that helps cross veils. So it's like, so when you're in the field, there's a technique that you can use. I mean, there's several things you can use crystals for in the field, which is just phenomenal. When I first hit a location, first of all, I just do a walk around. Yeah, straight away, I do a walk around just to see how I feel about the location. And I'll be feeling intuitively into where hotspots could be and stuff like that. Then when I think there's a hotspot, I get my crystal pendulum out, which we all carry around. Most people have a pendulum in their kit, don't they?
Yeah.
One of these things. I know Paul's got several. Mm-hmm. A pendulum. And then I would just ask basic yes or no's. Yeah. You do have lots of crystals and they're incredibly expensive in Glastonbury.
Yes. I bought a crystal in Glastonbury. Actually, it was just a little sort of thing to go on my necklace, and it was quite small. I think I paid something like £65 for it, and I'm hoping that was more for the silver content in it. I'm hoping it's silver, but for that amount of money, it was very expensive. But it was a special present, a wedding anniversary present, so we was allowed to be frivolous that day.
Spend your money.
Yeah, but Kerry, so how do you when you want a general, if you're out investigating and you want a general protection crystal, but that's not going to block anything, but just protect you a bit more, what would you recommend people?
The crazy lace agate.
There you go, Parker.
That's where I was going with what I was saying. It's actually the crazy lace, and people overlook the agates. They're a fantastic protection crystal. In their own right, but they leave you open, depending on the type of agate. There's lots of different types of agate, depending on the type of agate. But crazy lace is fantastic, and it brings fun and laughter in as well. So it keeps your energy light and fluffy, so you're not over intimidating in an investigation. Because I always say this with spirit, when you're dealing with physical spirit, like as in a person spirit, I say a physical spirit, but like a person spirit, we go in and we're all teched up and we're all got our hoodies on and we're all like business. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's tune in. We're going to do this experiment. We're going to do that experiment. And, you know, your adrenaline's going. And actually, if you think about it, you're going into a person's house that they see as their, you know, that's where they go. Yeah. How intimidating would that be for a person to have a group of people come in on an energetic level?
Yeah.
High energy levels, full of business, full of like zeal, we're going to catch a spirit tonight kind of scenario. And then sitting around with an EVP machine going, hello, my name's so-and-so. Could you please say something if you're there?
Yeah.
How intimidating would that be for you?
Yeah.
So you've got to like consider that. So if you go in and you've got a nice, you know, particularly if you've got all your black tourmaline, so all your auras are sharp, and you know, yes, all right. So sometimes the spirits aren't always nice energies, but why? Sometimes they're angry, they're upset, confused, lost. If you walked as a single person, like an individual person, I mean, into a pub and you were lost and you had all these people suddenly shouting at you,
you'd leave. You'd leave, wouldn't you? Yeah. So come back later when.
And you can't read them either on an energetic level. You can't read them. You'd be like, sod this, I'm off. Do you know what I mean? So, so it, you know, with the crazy lace, it keeps it a bit lighter and fluffy, and they can access it, and they can tell your intention. They can feel your energetic signature. Your, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I do.
So Jamie, you're going to go on the Spirit and Soul Island Facebook page and have a look at the shop.
I am.
And
if
just
Kerry's got
Kerry
10 minutes after the show, then I'll speak to her and see what she can do.
Yeah. Well,
if that's okay with you, if you got time, but if not,
I've got loads of time. Got all the time in the world, people.
So Paul,
Yes.
So I want you to go. We're going to go back to the crystal room because I love Kerry's crystal room. Can you get me some long pointy ones? Can you get me a yellow one? If you see a yellow one, or as near as damn it, a blue one, and then one another colour of your choosing.
Okay, right.
A yellow one, a blue one, and whatever colour you want.
Does that count as yellow?
Yeah.
What colour is it then?
Okay. I don't know what one it is though.
That's yellow fluorite.
Okay.
That's beautiful. That is.
That one's £8.
Right, put that to one side. That's sold. I'm having it.
Right.
It's like that.
What other one did you want?
Have a look at a blue one.
You want a blue one? Oh yeah, there's a blue one there. We'll have some of that one.
I hope Andy knows that you're spending some money.
Nice blue one.
Don't tell him.
I'm joking.
That's beautiful, isn't it?
And that one.
That's nice. I like that.
£20.
That's a good price.
I do like that.
Honestly, the cameras are awful because I can't tell which one that is.
Go closer to the camera, Paul.
I don't know. Hang on, let me change the lighting. Is that better?
No.
Okay.
No,
So,
I
Kerry,
can't
why
remember what
Paul's going off to get crystals? I know it sounds a really stupid question, but is opal any good?
Yeah.
It is.
Faceted. Opals there, you can get lots of different types of opals as well.
Yeah.
But
you
the
get
beauty of the beauty of opals is the faceting in them. So you get the opalescent look inside it, right? So what that does is about perception, about opening up and allowing you to see different faces of a situation. Yeah.
That
so if
sounds
you're
quite
like
cool.
looking at something like that, that's why it's great for you wear a lot of jewelry.
Right. Okay.
Opals will go into a lot of jewelry, and it would help to name one instead of saying just blue or red.
Black crystal, black opal.
History. Black opal. Yeah, again, look at the coloration. Look at where it's come from. Look at the geology. William's quite right on this one. It's not just about. It's like when you meet a person, you want to know the history, don't you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So how were they made? Well, with humans, we know how they're made. You know, but you'll think like, what's your star sign? It gives you an idea, doesn't it? So, but with crystals, the geology becomes important. How are they born into crystal form? How are they? You know what I mean? It's more than just a blue one or a red one, and they relate to different chakra points within you. And I don't do physical healing. I will put that out there. I'm not a physical healer. I work with mental, emotional, and spiritual sides. There's the 4 centers, and healing's one of them. And my belief system is that if you heal your mental, spiritual, and emotional well-being, then a lot of your physical manifestations are better. That is not I'm not standing here saying there isn't physical illness. There is. That's a totally different ball game. That's an area I don't go into. But if you look at your emotional, spiritual, and physical, mental well-being, emotional, spiritual, and mental well-being, that's where I work. That's what I do best. That's where my talent lies, in getting the right crystal so you can deal with emotional traumas that have been going on in your life, and how you can process that and deal with that and work through that to make you a more well-rounded and understanding person of others. And that's where empathy comes through. And there's a lot of things. Our behaviors as humans are very dependent on our past, and we carry trauma without even realizing it. And it unfortunately, what it does is it mars your future, like now. So something that happened when you was a child can mar how you react to something now. So a lot of work to do with crystals is actually going through those levels and working through where those belief systems and stuff come from, and actually working through that to become other ways of looking at it is called shadow work. It's the darker side of self that you do to improve self.
Okay.
And it's not pleasant and it's not nice, but what better way of doing it with a crystal that's your best mate?
Yeah. It's like a form of therapy, isn't it?
Very much
it's a
so.
bit like it,
Very much so.
William says, do you know crystals were used for compasses on ancient shipfarers? I know that they used the quartz, wasn't it? The quartz. It was a light coloured crystal, no? That they put in
white. It wasn't
white.
White, actually. It's very see-through because it's called it's Icelandic calcite.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. And what they used to do was, to get their bearings, they would hold it up to the sun and you could get a bearing from it. I don't know how they did it, but they did do it. Vikings used to use the calcite, and you can still buy it now for that. And you could learn, if you researched it, how to use it as that. But like, if you want to use like an eclipse, you can't look with your naked eye because it can burn your retina. But you can look through a smoky agate or a smoky quartz.
Yeah.
To view it, rather than, we all smoke mirror now or glass, don't we? We smoke up a glass to view it. But you can use those. I did. I took an agate. I had an agate slice, and I was viewing the eclipse through that.
Wonderful.
Beautiful when it works. And they link in as well. Crystals are energetic beings of the natural world around them, because that's where they came from, right? So when you're looking at crystals, you've got to look at, okay, so you want to work with, I don't know, earth energy. Yeah. So you would go and choose crystals that resonate with that particular element to help you link in with that earth element. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Or air or fire or water or spirit. Do you know what I mean? So you can incorporate all of those facets by using crystals to help you with your work, which is why they make such great little companions on a paranormal investigation.
I actually, do you know what? People think I'm mad, but I was gifted quite a large chunk of moldavite. And when I feel the need that I need to be protected, I'm grabbing the moldavite and wearing the moldavite. And I had it on for a whole week against my skin, went to bed with it, everything. And I was asked, how do you feel wearing that? I said, actually, I feel all right. I said, I feel pretty calm. I said, I feel energized. I said, but what's going to happen now when I take it off? I'm going to feel like shit. It is. I've learned not to put it on all the time now, and I've learned to sort of just keep it away and just take it out and use it when I need to. Thank it, just cherish it and look after it.
Yeah.
So
manners goes a long way with energy work, I tell you.
Yeah.
A long way. You have to, like you say, it's like working with a person. So you thank crystals. You know what I mean? I get criticised for talking to rocks quite a bit. They take the mickey out of me quite a lot for talking to my rocks. But when they come to me, when I'm getting them out the package from the wholesalers and that, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to give you a little bath, and oh, you're really pretty, I like you. And, you know what I mean? I'm like nattering away to them. And it's all of that side of things. But thank your crystals when they do the work. I'm surprised you could sleep with it. We call moldavite.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
We call moldavite the LSD of the crystal world.
Yeah, I was having lovely dreams.
Yeah,
I was having lovely dreams. It was brilliant.
Incredibly powerful crystal. And you also find the really, really powerful ones tend to only come in the smallest piece of moldavite is incredibly expensive because it's quite rare now, right? So a small piece is really powerful. Small and mighty is the moldavite. It's absolutely incredible. And they call it the LSD. And you can OD on it. It can make you feel really ill. I've worked with moldavite, and one of the pieces I worked with, I was working with it for about half an hour, and I had a migraine.
Really?
Yeah, I had to put it down and go. I had to go and rest my weary head because it gave me a headache. Do you know what I mean? It was like, oh my God, that was too much. And yet another piece, I was like giggling and laughing like I was on drugs. It was the cheapest drug night.
I love it. I mean, I'm really lucky to have the piece that I have, and it was a gift from Dan because it was making Dan sick, so he gave it to me.
Exactly.
It didn't make me sick though. It had the opposite effect with me.
Yeah, but you didn't know that.
The word of warning though on the moldavite is there's a hell of a lot of fake moldavite out there.
Yes.
It's now incredibly rare. You have to go to a reputable seller for it. Not everybody can get it because of the price of it. Wholesale is just incredible, particularly at the moment because it's not found. It's rarely found now. You get pockets of it, and be very careful when buying it because there's a heck of a lot of fake out there.
Yeah, Dan had he's had it for years, and because he couldn't work with it, it was chucked in the back of a drawer. And he said, you can have it if you want it. And I said, yeah, okay, I'll give it a try. So he just gave it to me. And I'm quite lucky because it's quite a big chunk like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm really lucky that I've got that. So, yeah. We love you, Dan. So, Paul, I want you in the crystal room. Can you just walk around and just pick up another larger piece that you're drawn to show to everybody? It can be anything.
Oh, another large piece. Oh, I don't know about that.
Just so we can show everybody the sort of things you have in the crystal room. I mean, that camera angle doesn't show it all, but the crystal room is vast and it's just got racking everywhere.
Can you see that?
Nice.
That's lovely, isn't it? And what is that?
I can't even see it. Celestite. Celestite. That's an egg, isn't it?
Crumbling away there.
Yeah, careful. It's got the matrix on it still to hold. It comes out the rock, and that's actually a raw piece that he's shown you there, which is really nice.
Oh, what about this piece? This piece is nice. Don't know what that one is though.
Wow. That's actually smelt. That's actually glass.
Yeah, I've got one of those somewhere. Yeah, I've got a glass one somewhere.
They sometimes call it.
Where it's like clear.
They sometimes call that smelt quartz. Bearing in mind, glass is made out of sand, so they can get away with calling it a quartz.
Yeah,
but it's not. It's effectively a dyed glass, but it's really pretty. And somebody wanted one, so I got a range in, and that's the only piece that hasn't sold so far.
There's some spheres.
Yeah, well,
yeah, that's my piece of spot. What did you call it? Smelt. I call it the glass one.
Yeah,
it's amazing. It's amazing how they do that, isn't it?
Oh, it's phenomenal. But it's just like a higher grade of sand, basically, that they've used the to make with, which is why they get away with the quartz thing.
Right.
But it is actually a glass, which is not a bad thing. A lot of crystal balls are glass and not
really?
quartz. Yeah. To get a clear, non-included quartz sphere, you're looking at
Thousands.
a lot of money, because you'll get like veils and rainbows, and you'll get like clouding in the quartz and stuff like that. But to get a perfectly clear crystal ball, quartz crystal ball, it is incredibly difficult.
That one. What's that one?
Zebra calcite.
Okay.
See the shape it takes as well. Crystals will go through a process, and yes, they get carved and shaped and polished into different things. Sometimes they stay in their raw form, and the crystal has chosen to appear in that form. So a raw chunk, so like rose quartz comes in great big boulders, right? It comes out like a great big rock, and then it goes into the warehouses and they carve it into shapes and stuff like that, right? So it's chosen which bit wants to, the crystal has guided itself into the process of where it wants to be. If it wants to be a sphere or a point or a totem or something along, a crystal skull, something along the lines, the crystal itself would have guided its own journey into becoming the form, so it can bring its beauty and its energy to the people that it's working with. And that's why, people go, oh, like only like raw, or only like points, or only like this. That's fine. You work with what you've got, what you're resonating with and what you want to work with. But that's why you get crystals in lots of different forms and shapes, and polished and non-polished, and stuff like that. It's fascinating.
Yeah. So, Kerry, I'm going to ask you. You don't have to answer this question, okay? Just say, mind your own business, Viv, if you want. Can you describe to us an experience that you had with a crystal, or working with a crystal, let's say, that took you by surprise? And it took you, but not only did it take you by surprise, but it sort of changed the way you feel, or how you felt about crystals. Has it sort of changed that feeling because of this one experience that you had with it?
Okay, I was doing a ritual, an occult ritual, and I was using crystals in the occult ritual, and I had a quartz point as my focus when I was doing it, and I had like my circle set, and I did all the stuff, and I was like working, and I was robed up, and I was like, I was really working this ritual. And out the top of this crystal in front of me, I'm visualizing, when you do occult work, if you're calling on an entity to come forward, you don't want them in the circle with you, right? Because obviously, if they're energetic exchange, so you tend to do it projected onto something. So I was projecting onto this crystal, and the crystal form would have held it in there, so I was safe whilst dealing with it. And it opened so out of the point, trying to explain this, out of the point, so like this is the point bit, it sort of like went to like almost like a projection of light, and the entity appeared in the projection, and I had to tackle is the right word there for it, and this particular entity, where you don't make deals in that circumstance. And I made a rookie error, and I made a deal which I shouldn't have done, #rookie error. And within that, the work I had to do to clear the crystal afterwards was phenomenal, because it just didn't want to go. And then it affected my life afterwards for quite an extended period of time in a very subtle way. It was very subtle and very long-winded, to the point where the work I'd been doing specifically, I kind of had taken on that burden, as it were. I was trying to clear it from somebody else, and I'd actually said, well, I'll take it. If they can't, I'll do it. And that's kind of where it went. And I ended up, over quite a long period of time, deteriorating. And then I recognized the deterioration. So I had to then do another lot of work to try and clear it off myself. Wow. You know what I mean? But the deterioration was incredibly strong. And within that, it was a ritual that went on for 6 months.
Yeah.
Over, different phases of it. And it had started, it had thrown me across the room a few times within that ritual, the power of the energy I was dealing with. That was an incredible experience, but that changed my perception of crystal work. And it took me from the level of this is beyond woo-woo, like intention work. And like, you know, which is talked about these days in things like The Secret and stuff like that. It took me sort of to the next level of energy work. And I was like, okay, that took me back. But the power of the crystal within that was just phenomenal. That the fact that the spirit could use that, and then, as I say, the work I had to do to clear it afterwards was just incredible. That was an experience that changed me and my work and my work.
You never make that mistake again, eh?
To be fair, I've only done a couple of heavy rituals like that since. I don't enter those rituals lightly now. You know, beforehand I would be, you know, you do a ritual, and I probably was quite woo-woo about it and just quite, whatever, you know, it's just a little ritual, you know, like whatever, and stuff like that, and like converse or you know, work on the ether with, you know, like various entities, because you'll find like if you work on the ether, then you're working with a lot of like elemental type energies, and they take all sorts of forms. And actually you see a lot of like grey looking alien kind of visualization of theirs, but they're fluid, they move and they're fluid. So when you're working on the ether and you're working with those kind of energies, it's they're not threatening. But when you conjure an actual full-blown god or goddess deity entity, they don't muck about. They are fully sitting in that power and their power, and you have got to be with it. Do you know what I mean? And know what you're doing. I mean, through that ritual, I was talking in rhyming couplets. I don't talk in rhyming couplets normally. It's not a normal ritual thing for me. But I ended up talking in rhyming couplets because that was what kind of like came out in that ritual. And I was thinking, I'm thinking on my feet talking in rhyming couplets. I mean, who does that? Do you know what I mean? I really was like,
does?
I was like razor sharp. I had to be razor sharp, which is why I made the rookie error. And I think that's why they sort of like had put that demand on, because then you make mistakes, right? Because you're trying to grapple with a way of communicating that you're not used to. So I think that's how come the mistake ended up happening. But yeah, that took a long while to clear, that particular one. And I ended up having to call Anubis in to help clear that one. Good old
Anubis. Yes, my good old mate Anubis
from Egypt. Powerful character.
So, Paul.
Yes.
What crystals have you been looking at in the crystal room? Have you anything others that you've got your eye on, or?
No, not really. I mean, I've always I like this one in particular. It's just nice. The symbology behind it.
Yeah,
I quite like that one. Be nice on my wall.
That'll be a good one for you, Parker.
Yeah. How much is that, Paul? Are you selling it or?
That was £30. They're all Kerry's crystals, not mine.
That's a green aventurine. And green aventurine is great for opportunity and luck and chance. And they say if you buy a lottery ticket, always keep a piece of green aventurine in your left-hand side pocket, and you'll win on the lottery.
Oh, sweet.
So I was doing an event. Well, there's another little funny little anecdote for you. I was doing an event and somebody was like at the stall talking to me, and I was talking to them about various crystals and, you know, full-blown sales spiel going on. And they was like, well, which one's going to bring me money? So I said, oh, green aventurine. So carry it in your left-hand pocket. And they went, right, I'm going to. So she bought this piece, and then she went straight to the newsagents, bought a lottery ticket, and came back. And it was just like a scratch card type lottery ticket thing, you know, one of them ones that you get. And she went, well, let's see how right this is then, shall we? And I was like, you know, like it's one of those moments where you think,
oh my God,
please God. Right? You know, she scratched it off. And it was when she won £1. And I went, doesn't matter. You didn't specify how much and you still won. And it basically covered the cost of the crystal you just bought.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Having said that, I could carry a shed ton of that crystal down to and buy a £1 million lottery ticket. That doesn't mean I'm going to win, folks.
No.
It's no more than that
still
you're a
with a
psychic
count.
medium. You can get told the lottery numbers. It just doesn't work that way.
No.
Nope.
No.
If it's meant to be, it'll be.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly. So I've got a favourite crystal of all time, which is the one I swear by. It's my all-rounder. And which is why when you showed me that yellow piece, that piece is mine. It's fluorite. So fluorite, the fluorites, I work with a lot of fluorite. Not all the time though, because it can get too heavy. But the fluorites, especially the darker fluorites, are my little go-to crystal. So I'm excited to get my hands on that yellow piece and to see what that baby can really do. So just by sheer chance.
Yeah. Picked up a fluorite, yeah.
So that's how it's a bit more than £1.
That one's not bad. I think it was 8, wasn't it, Paul?
Yeah, I think £8. I kept it to one side for you. Yeah, £8. There it is.
Hi, Vaughn.
Hi, Vaughn.
Yeah.
So, William says, crystal gazing is also such an ancient art form. Again, one would need specialised training in visualisation and scrying, and this can take many, many years to achieve. This includes learning about the energies residing in certain metals too. One learns a lot more of this study by the ancient art of alchemy. Great fun, and you'll get a much deeper understanding. Best wishes. Oh, he's lovely, is William. But no, crystals, they're just, do you know what I mean? They're the pretty stones of the earth, is what I call, and they're full of earth energy, and you treat them right and they will always treat you right.
Yeah, definitely. So talking of scrying, being as William has brought it up, most people in the paranormal field, you'd know about a scrying mirror, right? Or a scrying glass. Yeah. This is a black obsidian one.
Yeah.
It's a highly polished surface, as you can see. Yeah. And a lot of people make the mistake of going, I'm looking at it straight on, so their reflection is in it. But what you need to do is actually have it at a degree angle where you're not seeing your own reflection in it. Yeah. Yeah. So you're sort of like looking at it at a slight angle, and you go into a meditative state with staring, and it's best to let your eyes sort of just like unfocus a little bit, and then the images that come forward from that are what you're reading. Yes, it is an art form. Yes, it takes a while to master. It does take a while to master. But it's the same as if, water used to be the original scrying method. And then when they found polished, crystals and stuff like that, it then went on to scrying glasses and scrying mirrors and crystal balls and stuff like that. So it's sort of like the evolution of tool has come through on that one. But you see water. Talk about water scrying. You get a bowl and either get a black bowl or a dark coloured bowl, right? Put water in it, and then if you shine a light on it and then agitate the water and then look back over the footage, you can see spirit will go into it, and because it's so fluid and they're fluid, they can take on shapes within the water. And that's a very basic start to how you would do it, rather than actually having a flat, still surface. It's a little bit more hard because you're seeing energy within a physical object taking form and taking shape. It's phenomenal to do in a paranormal location. It's phenomenal work to do, but it is absolute. Get a roasting tin.
Yeah, that's what me and Lucy used. That's what we used.
It's dark. It doesn't matter as long as it's dark, and actually, it's probably a bit more easier to manage than a bucket or a square washing up bowl.
And also, when you watched, and I'm going to make light of this just for a minute. When you watch Harry Potter, and he puts his head in the scrying bowl, he actually does this first. So he's
Exactly.
agitating the water. So a lot of people don't understand that. So
Didn't the Chinese have something to do with that as well?
I don't
Like in
know.
the temples and stuff.
Oh, that was when they are foreseeing.
Right, okay.
They're using it. What they're doing is they're using it more as a vortex energy
Right.
than a scrying energy per se. So they're sort of doing that, but they're using that for a foretelling. But they would also incorporate plant energy within that forum as well. So that they would bring probably lotus. I think I'm not an authority on this one.
I think bonsai is because it's a root tree. So that's where they get the root from. So that's where all the energy, that's the anchor of the tree, I suppose. That's why they believe it in the bonsai tree itself.
Oh yeah. So but they would put the petals on the top of the water, agitate it. So they're creating that vortex so that they can pass, like when we talk about veils and vortexes and stuff, you're talking about channeling. You're talking channeling through in a way that you would obtain information either. You're connecting with the spirit guide and you're doing it for a specific purpose of foretelling rather than Uncle Bob's here and he wants to say hi. Kind of scenario.
But it's interesting because as well you've got the element side of it that comes into this as well. Like some people prefer to work with fire, and I'm not actually talking of fire. Maybe the fire crystals, water, earth, air, like you mentioned earlier. So again, when it comes to doing your working with crystals and in that respect, it's what you're drawn to. I don't know whether I always go to water, but I don't particularly like water. But I think it's my star sign. I think there's links and things going there all the time. But I veered off.
And yet you work with fluorite a lot, which is air.
Yeah.
Which is what? Sorry.
Air.
And the Moldavite, which is a bit higher than air.
Oh God, yeah, that's like cosmic. That's cosmic. That's not even on this planet, love.
So I'm sort of like, got rid of the water and here we are, like I'm working in something. So it works in mysterious ways, doesn't it? They say it's what you're drawn to.
Because there are different realms. I mean, this is the other thing. Like, you're not working in just like, don't get bogged down into the life of thinking us spirit world. Do you know what I mean? It's a lot more complex than that. There's levels to it. There's different planes of existence that overlap and interlock, and work as an altogether interconnected sphere of bubble. It's a lot more complex. That's what I'm saying. None of these the problem with spirituality on any level is the complexity of it, and it's watered down and fed out there in like the media selling forums in a watered down form. So when you go and do a course or something, all of a sudden you're being taught other concepts that are a lot deeper than the actual thing you probably went for. Like I'm on tonight and we was talking about crystals in the paranormal field, right? You know what I mean? Oh, easy, right? Oh, you take your amethyst, you shove it in a corner and you hope to God it does its best. It's not as easy as that. It's not as simple as that. And no spiritual working is easy. It's not meant to be, because you're dabbling in realms and dimensions that are otherworldly. And that is not going to be easy when you're trying to, with your own little physical self, cross that. You've got to raise your energy vibrations. You've got to work that. We did an experiment once. We did a show, bring Paul into this, on meditation. Yeah. And I was talking to him about meditation on the show, and we went through concept, and I set him a challenge, and I said, because he was like, oh, it's all crap, it's all coming from your mind and stuff like this, and I went, no, it's not, right? So I sent him a challenge, and I said, right, I want you to go and learn meditation with somebody, and we chose Viv, because Viv don't take no prisoners, right? She's like, you're doing this, and this is what happens, and she's a very good teacher to take you through the levels, how to build it up and how to start you off on that journey, right? And he did. Now, he wrote blogs about his experience on those, which was incredibly interesting. And he started to open up, didn't you?
Yeah. Definitely see a few things, raise more questions than answers, but it was just the start.
But it's not always easy to get yourself into a meditative state. Once you've done it for a lot of years and you know what's what, it's a lot easier. But there are still times where you sit down and you're trying to do it and you can't because I've got the washing to do and I've got the washing up to do and I've got the shopping to do and I've got to put it on my list. And you're like, and in your head you're going, shut up. I'm trying to meditate. I'm trying to shut off that side of my brain. And sometimes it just won't. Do you know what I mean? And other times it is like straight in and giving you that journey. And you could be sitting there for an hour without even realizing it when you're in a true meditative state. And it's phenomenal when it's working right and frustrating as hell when it's not.
You know what, Kerry? That was an incredible experiment with Paul because he doesn't, and I know Paul, that he doesn't like anything, doesn't believe in anything. He needs to see the physical proof, and he's one of those, you know. And to sit him down over that period of time and to see him change and he saw for himself and he got it himself. No one was doing it for him. And then he come back with a whole barrage of questions. Well, why did that happen? Why did this happen? How am I doing this? I said, no, I don't know. You tell me. How are you doing that then? Well, I don't know.
I think that conversation started because we was talking about meditation and where these images and things come from. And I think you just escalated from there and just experienced it for yourself. And that was really interesting, especially when I picked up on the battle.
Yeah.
And I think you, Viv, was going to go out to a battlefield or something, wasn't you? Because it was
That's right, yeah.
Because it was the anniversary of it or something. I can't remember what that was. Yeah.
Sounds interesting.
So William says there is something a lot of paranormal groups don't understand is their environment and the elements that are around them. Excuse me. With respect, a lot of it is purely guesswork and, in my opinion, an amateur dramatics for the camera. Yeah, and I agree with him. I do definitely agree. So we've gone over an hour, Kerry. I love it when you come on because I could just talk and talk and talk. It's just like talking to your mate, you know.
I'm proper chilled out, you know, talking about it.
Is there anything you want to know from Kerry? Jamie, is there anything you want to know from Kerry or
No, once we finished, I'll have a quick chat, quick 10 minutes.
Oh, you're going to do private stuff?
I'll do it private, yeah. I'm not going to announce it. So if that's all right with you, Kerry.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll have to go and have a wee first.
You're not allowed.
Yeah, no, and Paul needs to get the kettle on.
And he needs to get the kettle on. But yeah, that's absolutely fine. I've got time afterwards.
Thank you.
Cool. Well, I'm going to wrap this up because we've been going on for a little while. We'll be back next week. I don't even know who our guest is next week. I haven't got the calendars a bit in front of me, nothing. But I know for definite that we will have Dan next week. So I hope you can all join us on Simply Spooky next Wednesday at 8 p.m. If you can't wait until then, we will be on the Things Network on Tuesday, 7 o'clock. What we talk, and we will be talking about dreams and can they really mean something. So hopefully you will join us and join in the chat. And Jamie would have done his homework by then.
Yeah.
And hopefully Dan will be back fighting fit again for next week. So until then, thank you everyone that's come into the chat. Thanks for your input, and thank you, Paul and Kerry again. And we're not going to leave it so long before we get you back, just because we can. And we'll get Richard. Along as well, just to have a party.
Yeah,
and we'll call it a paranormal concept interview. That will be good.
It will.
But anyway, guys, thank you ever so much, and we will see you next week. Take care.